Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and it is Yolanda Starks White, and yours truly today as we await the arrival of Coy Malone. How you doing, yo?
Great. How
Do
you
you like?
doing, Sybil?
I'm okay. Do you like being called yo? Because I don't normally call you yo.
Sybil, you can call me anything, and I will
Anything,
respond.
any
Anything. They're just words,
sticks
and
and
I'm not
stones.
attached. And I'm not attached to the words.
What is your name?
It's okay. My name could have been Marilyn. It's
That's
all the
not.
same.
That's
It's
not
just
your.
a name.
That's not your middle name.
No, it's not.
Oh
No.
shoot.
And I don't even know anybody named Marilyn. I don't even know where that came from. Nope. I am not attached to the name, so you can say, "Hey, girl, you."
Call you the B word?
I will
Yeah,
respond.
you would respond. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, because I don't
Okay,
care.
I know. That's not true in my case. I just want you to
Just don't
know.
call me ugly.
Ooh, that's an ugly thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. Don't call me ugly. Even if you think I'm ugly, don't
Hmm.
call me ugly.
Well, who
Only
would?
because I am protective of the words that are spoken over me.
Hmm.
So that is a description of something that I wouldn't want to take on. So therefore, I reject that.
But
Anyway,
brilliant and beautiful and accomplished and
and you,
and
hey, you.
you.
Well, because for the longest, my name was MF.
Your daddy did not call you
I'm
that.
sure he did.
I thought he
Come
only
here,
referred
mother.
to your little
Come
brother
here, mother.
as that.
Come here, mother. Yeah. And me and my sister would turn around. Who?
Which one?
He wouldn't even break it up and say one or two. He would just, you know who you are. We'd be like, really?
Oh my
And we would have to
god.
figure it out.
Oh my god.
That is awful. So, but how's your day? How you doing? How you doing today?
Oh my gosh, your daddy was quite. The more I learn about him, the more I regret I didn't get to know him as well as I should have because he was really something.
He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, he was an interesting
I
cat.
heard you. I heard you got out into the world today. What was that like?
I did, and it was really a nice day until the traffic started stacking up. I didn't get out
Mm.
early enough, but I did some running around and went to post office and the things I really needed to
Mailing off those Halloween cards.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Okay.
Uh-huh. You smart ass.
Okay. I'm just saying. Because what do you go to the post office for? What's at the post office?
Actually, I like the little post office by our house. I like
Yeah.
that. And the lady I think is about to retire, and I
The
didn't get
black
in.
lady.
Uh-huh.
Uh
I
huh.
didn't I didn't get in today because the most important thing I meant to bring I forgot. Um, but I like that, and it reminds me of the
Hold
of
on,
the.
Sybil. Let me go ahead and bring Coy up so she can say, so she can't say, I've been here.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, but I have not been here.
We know. We know.
Not today.
Hence,
Hey,
that's
pretty
why we
girl.
had to start the little show because Yolanda is a stickler for time.
Hmm.
So,
Yes,
what do
she
you have to
is.
say for yourself?
I'm just coming from a funeral from a
Oh, that's a good
really,
one.
really close friend of mine. My very great dear friend, who was also a co-producer of all the music for my former radio show, all the radio drops for that. Um, Most of the radio drops and most of the music contributions to the show that I started prior to that. Also, 98% of the music that I had when I was a musical artist, his name is
Not
Born.
97, not 99.
98.
8.
I calculated
Uh,
it.
of
98.
course you
His
did.
name is Born Talib Allah. I met him back in 2006. He and his co-producer Khalik make up I call them the super group duo Evolution Be Known, also known as G47 here in Atlanta. Very, very great, positive person who super served the African American community here. He's known as the mayor of West End. of that area, that neighborhood in Atlanta. You can find him out in the community, building amongst people. He was a regular listener of Tom Joyner in the Morning Show and a regular watcher of What You Need to Know.
Wow.
He subscribed to the newsletter, all of that. So yeah,
wow.
known each other almost 20 years. So it was very, very hard to see him go.
I'm sorry to hear
I'm
that.
sorry about your loss.
Yeah. Condolences
So,
to you and his family.
thank you. So I got here as fast as I could. I was about 45 minutes away in traffic.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So that was really only 12 miles.
I was gonna say 10. Yeah,
I know, right? 6. Atlanta.
Well, I'm very sorry for your loss, Coy, and we can understand, those long time friendships and losing important people in our lives. So, was he a stickler about time?
Kind of, yeah. But see, he was one of those. This is probably why y'all would think we were really good friends, because he was one of those that would take a long time. Like how y'all say, I'm long-winded. He was too.
So how did y'all balance each other if y'all each had a lot of words?
I would be the one to cut it off. I would cut off the conversation.
Cool. That's a cool memory. That's cool. He had a lot of words, huh?
He did. Everybody said they were like, yeah, you got to cut out time when you want to talk to Bourne on the phone. And he made time to talk to everybody. I'm like, everybody? And it's so funny. A couple of days before he passed, he called almost everybody and had a conversation with almost everybody. I talked to him on Instagram a couple of days before he passed. I didn't get that last phone call, but almost everybody.
He knew that it was happening.
Time was imminent.
That's what I'm guessing. I would guess so. Right. He called everybody that Saturday, called a lot of people that Friday. We were supposed to meet up and speak on a new project that I was going to work on with his co-producer, and myself. So we're going to continue his legacy and continue this project. I don't really have a lot of information about it. They have a little bit of information from things that I'm working on as well behind the scenes. Of course, you all are going to be involved. So everybody stay tuned.
Okay.
Well, I'm very sorry, but I do know what it's like to have friends who talk a lot, that have a lot of words.
Are you looking at me?
I am.
She knew you were looking at her too.
I'm looking at the both of you, actually.
Oh.
You both got a lot of words, and I do too. But by the time I finish like this, I'm done for the day. I got no more words. I got nothing. And somebody wanted to have a conversation with me about doing some business, and I was like, I don't have it. I don't have. You don't have what? You don't have the papers. You don't have the info. I was like, I don't have the tolerance for all of this conversation. And he said, what? And he said, I'm here to help you. And I said, I can't help you. And I just have to be very honest. It used to be that Sundays I would keep where I didn't talk. Now I can't do that. But I just require, just some silence and not the use of all the words that I have in my vocabulary.
Yes, you can on Sundays, because your production meeting is 2 minutes.
I know, isn't that great? Isn't that great? And it didn't used to be that way, but you're absolutely right. Yes. But I like to get in. You good? You good? You good? You good? You good? You good? And okay, we're good. Bye. See ya.
That's one way of doing it.
It's the best. All right, so let's move on to the newsletter. This is what you need to know. This is what we work on every Monday through Friday to bring information to the African American community. Coy Malone is our social justice contributor, and Coy is talking about Cameron, a young man by the name of Cameron, and how he has had a bit of a bonus. Cameron Lamb got a bit of a bonus when wrong was done to him.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a bonus this is, because Cameron Lamb is no longer with us. I believe we did cover this story somewhat a while ago, and actually March 6, 2022, which would be the March 7th newsletter, about former Kansas City Police Detective Eric DeValkenair, who has now been ruled by a judge. A federal judge has now partially sided with the family of Eric Lamb, who now says that the Kansas City, or the former Kansas City police officer, basically had no business being there during this fatal shooting that occurred in Kansas City. And this just recently happened with Judge Beth Phillips, who ruled that Eric DeValkenair violated 26-year-old Cameron Lamb's Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable search and seizure by entering his property in 2019 without a warrant. However, the judge declined a summary judgment on Lamb family's claim that the fatal shooting was excessive force, and the judge made no decision in the wrongful death case filed against the Kansas City Police Board and DeValkenair. So the attorney for Lamb's family said that they hope the ruling will force the police board to recognize this tragedy and do right by Cameron's family. DeValkenair was convicted in 2021 of involuntary manslaughter and armed criminal action and is currently serving a 6-year sentence in prison. Now, there has been a little bit of a split between those that believe, or those that know, that the former police officer should be in prison versus those that are trying to get a pardon granted for this former officer. After his conviction, he was free on bond until losing his appeal in October 2023. And the Missouri Supreme Court also declined to hear an appeal. Republican Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey asked the appeals court to reverse his conviction and order a new trial. And DeValkenair's wife, Sarah, uses social media to urge followers to request a pardon. And there are also 3 major candidates in the Missouri governor's race that have either promised to release DeValkenair or vowed to review his request for clemency. But he's guilty.
Right. Right.
And so what do you think will happen?
What I think will happen is the citizens of Kansas City, Missouri will vote for a governor that is not trying to pardon Eric DeValkenair. That's what I would like to happen.
You
right?
hope. Okay, that's your hope.
I would
because
like
the likelihood of them getting a more liberal governor in the state of Missouri is highly unlikely.
Right.
And you have a better chance in the city of Kansas City than you do within the state of Missouri, or of Kansas for that matter.
Right. And even the current governor commented on the mounting pressure that he's receiving to grant an appeal. I guess he has either denied it or just is, letting it just sit on his desk until the next election term. However, there are 3 candidates that are using this as a part of their platform. So that kind of goes to show the views of the citizens in Kansas City and Missouri overall, which I'm really not surprised.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a sad ending to an unnecessary death, but and violent death at that.
And only 6 years.
Mm.
Only 6 years sentence.
Wow.
One of the other stories that's in the newsletter today, it's Ministry Monday, and the great Willie Mae McIver talks about salvation. Do you all ever think about salvation and the saving of your souls?
I do.
I bet you do. Coy?
Not anymore.
Would you stop?
Because from what I learned, you get saved and that's it. You don't got to think about that no more.
And do you too say the Lord knows your heart?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Heard that a time or two.
My ways and my words too.
Okay. Well, Willie Mae McIver talks about salvation, and take a look at that. I love Ministry Mondays with her, and it's one of the first things I go to when I check out the newsletter. for Mondays. She gets to it, and she also gives you a little scripture. So I invite you to look at that. We also talk about Mark
Well,
Robinson.
before you move that, you do
Yes.
know that there's a church that's available for you on Sundays, just in case you miss Willie Mays. I'm just saying, you get some singing, some
I would
fellowship.
I would never not go to church if I can, but I also would never not miss Willie Mae McIver in the What You Need to Know newsletter.
Heard.
That's her church. It's quick. She can read it and it's done.
Well, it's not that the church that Yolanda goes to is not quick. It's that it's not in and out like the white churches, but it's
I think
pretty.
it is in and out at the white churches. We start at 10. He say we get out at 11, but by 11:30 we really are gone. That's white folk time.
Wow.
Right, Coy?
Yeah.
And they do a
Mhm.
lot during that time too. They sing, they dance, they praise, they preach.
Mm.
It's a lot.
And I'm going to leave it right there. Um, so you get the words, you get the singing, and then you get to stepping. One of the other things that we talked about in the newsletter was Mark Robinson. This is the black man that is running for governor in the state of North Carolina, who is he's always been a different type of cat. He is one that pushed for the imagination of slavery, reintroducing slavery to this country. He is also one who has various thoughts about abortion and very much against abortion. And there are a lot of people, but he wants to take all of the onus off of the man in the relationship when it comes to abortions and the call for abortions, and say that this is just an introduction to young ladies who need to keep their skirts down. He is also, uh, as CNN has done a thorough background check on him, was a man who frequented porn sites. And he was one who talked about he liked to watch transgender sex, although he was very much against the the allowance of transgender and people going through transgender operations and what have you. He was really quite the contradiction, and he really didn't like his people too much. He referred to Martin Luther King Jr. as Martin Luther Coon. And the interesting thing about that is he referred to him, the one of the greatest leaders of our time, as Martin Luther Coon, and Donald Trump, who was endorsing him at one time, and really hasn't taken his endorsement away since all of this came out about him, but he has called him Martin Luther King on steroids. And people who know and love Martin Luther King, including his son, are offended by this man and what he has said about his father, and the fact that he's being compared to Martin Luther King by Donald Trump, who obviously has no idea. So take a look at this story. It's really
Sybil,
quite yes.
we don't have a lot of time before we have to go to the next segment, but I just want to say, I don't believe that. I don't believe what they found, that he was on a porn site talking about his him being a black Nazi and so forth and so on. I think that we have been warned that
AI.
yes,
And that's
yes,
what he said. And that's what he said. So
okay.
tell me how AI works on porn sites where he was a regular with his name, his email address, his username.
AI could have created all of that.
Okay, Mark
No, it couldn't.
Robinson.
I'm telling you,
Okay,
Sybil, we
okay,
have to be
okay,
careful.
okay,
I'm telling you. I'm
okay.
telling you. I
In
have been really.
2008 to 2012, they were
You can
able
back.
to.
AI is able to generate things that
Ooh,
happen.
AI, yes.
I'm
Okay,
just saying,
okay.
we just can't believe everything we see. And especially one gentleman, one expert said, when we are looking
Mark
at the
Robinson said
AI,
that. Mhm.
no, not Mark Robinson, but when we're looking at AI, when you look at all of this coming out, If it is so far on the other side, then you should question it. But you just can't. I just think it's dangerous. I'm done.
I think you are allowing too much grace in this case. And that's what you do, Gracie. You give grace to people. But this man is dangerous.
I agree.
Yolanda.
I agree with that. That's not what I'm saying. But see, what happens is I think he is dangerous, but I think we get caught up in the salaciousness of it. And
you know what? I was talking about it, but I'm not caught up in the salaciousness of it. I'm caught up in the danger that this man could bring to the state of North Carolina. And he got caught not based upon his dangerous ideas and the ways that he has gotten to this point as a lieutenant governor of North Carolina. But I am very, very, I'm grateful that CNN did this investigation and found out who he really is. And the danger that he could bring to the state is what I'm concerned about. Not, what he does in the privacy of his home with it,
So
however.
If that don't matter, why bring it up?
Because it's a big story. And they're asking, and the story is big because North Carolina is such an important state in the upcoming election.
Okay. I just think that there is so much stuff that we could turn to that we don't have to participate in the salaciousness. And it's going to just be so more, period. I'm across the board with that. What that has to do with how he plans to govern. So.
Okay. All right. Very well. Let's move on to the pitch for the What You Need to Know newsletter. If you would like to subscribe to my salacious story about Mark Robinson, we would love to have you. Coy is our social justice contributor. Cameron Riley also writes about politics. His sister, Quinn Townsend Riley, is our LGBTQ contributor, and April Russell is our mental health and wellness. And you see their stories every week in the What You Need to Know newsletter. And it is absolutely free. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box Monday through Friday morning. And all that we ask is that when you receive it, open up some of that salaciousness and just breathe it all in, as well as Willie Mae McIver's Ministry Monday and tax tips and things like that. All right. Thank you very much. Let's move to the question of the day. What's really going on? And Coy, this is to you. And Yolanda, because Yolanda is a very timely person. And so we're going to put it up to Yolanda to be the judge. What's the best excuse or the wildest that you've ever heard or that you've ever used for being late? You took all the air out of our sail with us, your dead friend.
Gosh.
Right.
But, I haven't seen
Thanks,
a program. I haven't heard anything in the ether about, a dead radio guy. We usually, hear about these people around the country. But and I'm not making, I'm not making light of the man stuff. We do that all the time. But what is the best excuse you have come up with or that's been accepted for being late? And that's for everyone to come and, like last week, Coy was having difficulties because the table broke.
It did. It's still broken now. I'm holding it up with my
foot. But she's always got something. We had a friend that a person we worked with. Every time there was a problem with him showing up somewhere or doing his job, he had a grandparent that
died.
And so we're like, well, how many grandparents you got? Because it turned out to be like double-digit grandparents.
That's a true story, Coy. That's real.
Oh my gosh.
Because what can you say when your grandparent died?
My granddaddy died. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which one was this? You can't even ask, which granddaddy was this? Because it was like, oh, it was my well, he didn't die the last time. We thought that he was dying.
You're funny, Sybil.
So the question is, and Yolanda's going to be the judge, The best excuses you've heard or used for being late. And Yolanda is, if you're on time, you're late. She's one of those people. And both her parents were very timely.
Very timely. Like there was no tolerance. And Coy, you think if I'm serious about time, meet up with sister. She is really no joke when it comes to time. But you know what? From what, like my daddy said, it's just really about respect. It's about respecting other people's time. It's like I could be doing something instead of waiting on you. And the biggest thing, Sybil, is like going to the doctor's office. Doctors are the worst. You know, you have to be there early, but if you're 15 minutes late, they go cancel your appointment and charge you anyway. But you can sit up there and wait on them for an hour.
All right.
I resent that. I resent disrespecting my time like that.
Yeah, the way we're supposed to respect other people's time, they disrespect ours.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Coy?
I don't know if I have a best excuse because I just or one that I've heard.
Well, Coy, you're late a lot. What do you normally say?
I have ADHD.
See, okay.
But that's the same excuse over and over and over again.
They
what
know
are you
it now.
doing about it?
I know it now. I'm looking to get a diagnosis. I need this on paper, file with HR.
You don't even have a diagnosis.
I need it.
No,
I'm working
ADHD
on it.
and you don't have a diagnosis.
I will soon. Stay tuned.
So what? So Sybil, you want her to walk around and show it to you? Show it to people?
Well, I asked for a program from the funeral.
That's in my purse.
Well, go get it. Take the table. Let the table go.
You want me to go get it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
We got
right
one,
there.
Sybil.
Mrs. Davidson on Facebook, during a recent major water main break here in Atlanta, I could not get from the parking lot to the medical building where I had an appointment. Made me late, and I had to keep myself from flying off the handle when the check-in person mentioned me being late. And it's right there. I mean, the water main break was national news.
Right. Right.
Pamela Sullivan on Facebook, I called my husband the Horizon Man, early on time, us late, and late us unacceptable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about you? I know you told us about him, but what else? Do you have another one? What do you use when you're late? That would be Sybil.
I know. I'm thinking. I don't know.
Well, you're really not. You're not late that often. You're really not late.
No, but I'm not as timely as you need me to be.
Well, I just need you to be on time.
No, you need for me to be before on time.
Well, if you are on time, then you're late.
You're not right. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying. Coy, could you imagine being my best friend? It's always my friends are nervous. You should see my girlfriend Tracy. When it's time for us to go somewhere, she's nervous because she don't want to hear me.
And you sit in her driveway and you just like, okay, she'll come when she's ready. And then she comes out like, what?
It's one.
Brenda Brooksberry on YouTube, I'm dyslexic and being late is one of the events. What does that mean? One of the events.
Right. Being dyslexic.
So ADHD and dyslexia.
Hilarious.
Okay.
Yes, all.
Evelyn Dawkins on YouTube, I don't use an excuse when I'm late because of flex time. But not everybody is on flex time, right?
Right. Oh, this is good. What you gonna do about this?
Barbara Jackson ran out of gas. So are you calling me to bring you a gallon of gas? So
Barbara, if you knew you had the appointment, why didn't you make sure you had enough gas to get you where you needed to be? I'm just saying.
I see a lot of people run out of gas before they're supposed to be somewhere. I'm like, how? I think that's happened to me maybe once.
It's happened to you?
Yeah, not like on the side of the road, but definitely like I should have got gas last night before I went home, and now I'm pushing it to the limit going to work.
Yeah.
So immediately after work, it was like straight to the gas station.
Right. But yeah, so I'm glad you didn't stop and get gas so you could really be late to work. So I'm glad that you went ahead and went to work and you dealt with possibly not making it to the gas station. Just don't be late. I'm just saying.
I probably was still late.
And what do you blame it on? Do you blame it on the ADHD or do you blame it on running out of gas?
Oh, probably both. I probably didn't say anything that day. I probably just started sneaking in like, When I get there on time or early, they're like, Coy, that's you?
Or my dead friend had ADHD and ran out of gas trying to get to him. Go ahead, Yolanda. Janice Wade on Facebook. I know a coworker that missed work because she bumped her head getting into her car.
How hard did she sit down?
And so, Coy, let me ask you this, because I know you're not a disrespectful person. And I know that it is not your intent to have somebody waiting on you. But what happens in your head when that actually occurs? Like, how do you reconcile that with yourself?
Oh, it's hard. First of all, I have like a lot of different thoughts going in my mind. Like, what do I say? How do I say this? Do I want to say that I'm late right now? Are they going to believe the excuse? Are they going to say it's an excuse? Are they, you know what? Let's just concentrate. Let's get this together. Let's go. Get this. Do you have everything? Get out the door. Go to where you're going. It's a lot of thoughts. It's a lot of overthinking. It's kind of hard to kind of quiet my mind. So I try to concentrate.
Why don't you write it down?
Oh no. I can,
but that's gonna take time.
Well, no, I mean, just like tonight, you'll be sitting around and thinking about how you'll be late for work tomorrow, and you'll just write down, what it is that's going through your head.
Oh gosh, you know how many lists I have right now?
Oh wow,
I have a lot of lists now, and even like I'm trying to go through the list and make sure I can go through an entire list and make sure I hit everything on there. And a lot of times there will still be something that I forgot, or I don't know, like lists. I'm gonna try hanging up. I just rehung my whiteboard, so I'm gonna try using that again.
Just put your list in your phone.
Yeah, that's where they are. It's not working right now.
But Coy, let me ask you this. So the reason why I ask you that for a reason. So all the things that you listed was about you. Can I encourage you the next time to consider the imposition that you're causing someone else?
Oh, that's why I think like that.
But no. What I'm saying is just consider, for example, what Yolanda has to do is important with everything she has in her life. So therefore, I'm not going to be the cause of her not to be able to do what she needs to do.
I mean, that's how it starts out, and then it just goes bad.
No.
That's how it starts. I promise you. That's how it starts out. I just need to give myself more time. I feel like the best way to describe it is like this. Everybody, to me, it's like how you have a car and you start the car, you turn the key, engine starts, you can put it in gear and go. Mine does not turn over. It takes a long time to turn it, to get it started, and then to get it in gear.
So
it takes so long for me to switch
for that. Because there's a solution. So what do?
There is a solution.
Well, let me help you and tell you.
I haven't found it
earlier.
I've tried that too. It seems like starting earlier gives me more time to not get ready.
Wait,
it is the strangest. It is the frustration of my day every day. Every day. It is that, but that's why I say, I gotta go get diagnosed, because it's to the point where it's disruptive.
What does that mean? If you already know what it is, why do you have to get diagnosed? You know what it is, so how do you deal with it?
Because with the diagnosis, you have a lot more serious like treatments instead of just talking it out and talking through it. Like, I'm tired of talking through it. Like, I need something that is going, like some type of treatment and a treatment plan.
So
this needs to be documented.
You mean treatment?
That too, both.
Okay.
Oh, look at the time. Oh my. We've run out of time for this segment. Thank you for those who wanted to play in our little
diagnosing Coy
and that stuck around. For this next segment, let's talk about the trending topics, and just to give folks an update on what happened in Birmingham late Saturday night. into Sunday morning, a shooting in which 4 people were killed and a group of people, some seriously injured, and they're starting to give the biographies of those who were killed, including one young woman, a 21-year-old college student by the name of Anitra Holloman, who was raising her daughter alone after her boyfriend was killed in
Oh
2022.
no.
She was killed in the mass shooting Saturday night. 21 years old, 4 months pregnant at the time, affectionately called Riri by her friends and family. She stayed strong and forged ahead. She was determined to give her daughter and herself the best life possible. She was one of those standing outside of the Hush Hookah Lounge, in which they believe that a gangland style execution took place, a page shooting, if you will. um, and her mother is grieving, obviously her family, and her child has now lost both parents.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
Um, they say
Whew.
that a University of Alabama at Birmingham football player uh, has been affected by the deadly Birmingham mass shooting. So it's not just the people that were physically wounded or killed, mortally wounded in this, but there are people who just are, trying to get away from the violence, and then the violence comes to them. Looking at the effects, it was Saturday night, as I said, and they are looking for the people, and they're offering uh, a reward for people who come up with the information that can lead to the arrest of someone, or the group of people. But this happened at 5 Points South, an entertainment district in Birmingham, and a lot of people outside, just trying to get in, or some trying to get out, or whatever their circumstance was. They said it sounded more like a power drill. Dozens of shots rang out, one after the other, in the Birmingham entertainment district. And this would they realized that what it was the attack on the Hush Lounge on Magnolia Avenue, which was blocks away from people who heard all of this noise. That's how
Right.
big it was. Um, and they're looking for answers. They're looking for
Do
answers.
they have I know you don't know this, but it seems like cameras are everywhere. So I
Right,
wonder if there are cameras that can tell us who the perpetrators were.
right. Um, excuse me. They don't talk about that, Yolanda, in the news stories that I've seen, and I heard that there should have been cameras in that area, um, because, like you said, cameras are everywhere. People's
Right.
cars and
Right.
all
Yeah.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they say that the neighborhood is just in a turmoil,
Very.
and trying to figure out how this happened, and they lose 4 people and the wounding of scores of others, both physically and mentally.
Right.
And you said this is a what kind of, like, they think it was like a gang
They
doing
thought
this?
they thought that the person who was the focus of the shooting was one of those that was killed.
Oh wow. Okay, so they were after one person. Mm.
Police say the suspects pulled up in a vehicle, jumped out, fired multiple shots into the crowd as a line of people stood outside of Hush waiting to get in, and then they jumped back in the car and fled. 4 people were killed, 2 men and a woman, and it just had this a young woman spoke about her, Anitra Holloman, and Taj Booker. Marcus McCain died on the scene, and another man died at the University of Alabama at Birmingham Hospital. At least 17 others were injured, and they say that it was automatic fire, automatic weaponry, because they had 100 shell casings that were found on the scene there at the
What you
shooting.
say? 100 shell casings?
100 shell casings.
I mean, they're just shooting.
Wow. How long does it take to let off 100 rounds?
Not long.
Didn't
It
take
doesn't
long.
take long.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
And that's what a lot of people talk about. I hear a lot of people that, I call it on the streets in the neighborhoods. I talk about a lot of these shootings when it happens, not condoning violence or gun violence or anything like that. What a lot of people on the streets lately have been talking about is you have all these people with guns, and they have no type of training or no type of, aim. And that's why a lot of people end up getting hurt or unfortunately killed in these situations, because this might have been one of the first times they pick up a gun. They're just shooting. So they could be shooting anybody, anywhere, any direction, anytime. That's what makes it so
and
dangerous.
doing it, for the money. Somebody offered them money to go after a person, and they said, "Yeah, what do you need to know about this? All you do is aim and shoot."
So Sybil, I know that there is talk when a mass shooting happens or when the attempted assassination, and people are just so outraged about, because I assume, I don't know anything about guns, but I assume it had to be an assault weapon. Is that
Yeah.
how so many rounds go off?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like that's when it talked. But I'm just curious how often this happens in our communities. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for telling us what we need to know, what's happening in our communities. But how often does this happen? Like, it's happening enough where that's what we should be talking about every day.
Yeah.
That is what we should be talking about every day, all day, over and over, different ways.
And they do talk about the assault weapons and the automatic rifles, and how, at one point for 10 years there was a ban on those weapons, right? And the ban was allowed to expire. And now the gun lobbyists have such a hold on the politicians, they're not bringing the ban back. There's no discussion of it. People have handguns. People have, the vice president, said she's got a gun in her house. But having automatic weapons, and why do you need automatic weapons, which are weapons of warfare?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the guns you use during war. Why people need them to go hunting? Why people need them? Why does a 14-year-old boy get an automatic weapon for Christmas from his father?
This is a trigger happy country. And because we were built on those laws of warfare, because that's what it was built for. When the Constitution was started and the right to bear arms, all
that's
that
when
was
they had
for war.
muskets.
Yeah.
They didn't have all of the stuff where you put a piece of machinery together and you put in a whole line of
light it.
Yeah, right. That's
Right.
what their armory was like.
But it was for the purpose of war. All of this was to defend the land from Native Americans. Then it graduated from Native Americans to keeping slaves in order and making sure they don't run away and making sure they don't uprise, because there was a big fear about that. And then after that, it was, well, maybe we might have a war with the people coming from what is Mexico now. So now we got to fight them. Now we got to fight the English.
Well,
now
let's
it's just
start
always
with
a
the
fight.
English first. Let's start with that, because
Right.
that's where the war started between the British and the colonists. And then as you go through the history of the way they felt about people of color and what have you, and they wanted to get rid of. But the bottom line is, these are pieces of machinery that really have no place in our society, but they make such great money from the sale of these, and they don't give a damn about the lives that are lost as a result of this. And that's why the lobbyists are doing their jobs to keep the legislators in line and keep the law from going into full effect.
But Sybil, I wasn't articulate with what I was trying to say. Dora says it better for me. And so, Coy, I understand the history that you were talking about. I don't care about all of that. This right here is what I care about.
Black on black killings are out of control, just senseless. Every day.
It's been that way though.
But
you really can't differentiate black on black versus everybody else, because everybody has their own crime against their own. So it's not that our numbers are more astronomical.
Yeah, I don't care about them.
Like, our numbers aren't astronomical compared to everybody else. There's more going on with everybody else.
I'm not comparing.
But it is something that I would say the big issue with us is because we have an opportunity divide when it comes down to the basic necessities that we need. Our quality of life tends to be a lot lower.
Hold on. So that's what happened in Birmingham this weekend?
if their quality of life, look at it. If you have a quality of life a little bit better, do you think they would be out making decisions like that?
Well, what about?
More often, no.
I think that's a spurious argument. I don't agree with that at all. I think the door is, if we can't control them in a white county in Georgia, the least we can do is control our own and do
That's all I'm
something
talking. I'm talking about
and
us. I think
stopping.
we focus so much on them.
Yeah.
But what
That's what I'm saying. For us, if our quality of life was a lot better, I feel like our violence, like our numbers in violence, would be down as a whole. Just Black people across the board. Across the board, I feel like
I
that.
think the quality of our minds and the way that we are treating each other has more to do, or maybe it is quality of life, but the way that we treat each other and our concern in getting these damn guns off our streets.
It has to be. It has to be. But I feel like that all ties into quality of life. When you have a better quality of life, especially as Black people, we don't have to run around here acting crazy like that.
And we can't use that as an excuse, because the quality of life.
So the people in Birmingham, the gangs that did this, it was about the quality of life.
Birmingham is bad. The quality of life there is
okay. I would say Fort Worth. It's everywhere.
Yeah. I mean,
outside of Chicago.
Well, Sybil, I'm only kidding.
No. I mean,
Chicago.
I'm concerned about going home to the south side of Chicago, because people are still just standing in front of their homes, and someone drives around, and that has nothing to do with the quality of life.
That does.
Shooting someone innocently standing in front of their house, you blame that on the quality of life. That's
what quality of life do you have that makes you think, hey, I should go up and shoot this person in front of their house?
It's a mentality.
Right.
But it's not a quality of life question.
That's how I feel.
That's just something like that can be debated. So everybody has their opinion.
Because there's a lot of things in our community that feeds this type of thing that we should be doing. Look at a lot of the music.
You're right.
It's just like an idea that just we have to change. There's so much that we need to change in order for us to get out of this mentality.
Oh, look at the time. Yolanda, I do want you to talk about something that happened on The View today. And this is the discussion about Janet Jackson and what she said about Vice President Kamala Harris and her misinformation. The women of The View weighed in after she picked up Donald Trump's false narrative that Kamala Harris may not be Black, with a mixed reaction from the panel. She said that she is Indian, and that her father is white, white Jamaican. And she said that where this came from was she was part of an interview with The Guardian, and they were talking about a Black woman perhaps becoming president of the United States. And QAnon is famous for this, that she's not Black, she's Indian, and that her father is a white man. So the ladies of The View were mixing it up, and Anna Navarro said what she did was spread misinformation of her recent comments echoing Donald Trump's assertion that she may not be Black. He made those comments, and QAnon supporters of Donald Trump have made that as well. And what made me bring this to you, Yolanda, is that Whoopi Goldberg passionately demanded grace for Janet Jackson amid the race controversy. And so she asked that we extend some grace. And I think that's what I'm asking to do that with a lot of this conversation here, is to extend some grace over some things I think that are misspoken and misunderstood. And I think that, and one of the other things they did not talk about in this conversation was that she's, I don't know if she still practices, but Jehovah's Witnesses are really, really ignorant about politics. They stay away from politics. And I don't mean stupid. I mean, they are not very up to date on what's going on politically speaking. And I think a lot of that has to do with her stance and not being up to date on a lot of these things. And so I think that Whoopi did a great thing by extending some grace, and it just really made me think of you.
And she also apologized too.
Yeah,
well, somebody apologized.
Oh yeah.
And they're not saying that that
Yeah.
her people are
I'll
saying
take
that.
it a step further. I still think that we spent a lot of time majoring in minor. So even when I saw the story, and then I was like, that's what we gonna talk about? What difference does it make that Janet Jackson say she's not black? What difference
Well,
does
well, because now the big thing is the young people who are major celebrities are supporting Kamala Harris and dumping Donald Trump.
But they're not supporting Kamala Harris because she's black. They're supporting Kamala Harris because she's a better candidate. And I take the position that Kamala Harris takes. She don't address it. It's majoring in minor. She is the better candidate if she's white or black or whatever compared to Donald Trump.
But it's still a discussion.
But why? That's what I'm saying. Why? Why
It's a
is
discussion for those that are concerned that her being black is a benefit or a bonus for whatever reason.
So what I'm saying is what those of us
So doesn't
that
believe
have,
in DEI.
but what I'm saying is what I'm encouraging us to do is take the focus off of that and just talk about who she is as a person, not what color she is and what her credentials are. Why don't we, when that comes up, we can counter it with who she is and what she represents.
Right.
As opposed to majoring in minor about what color she is.
It's just exposing racism, in my opinion.
So Janet was being racist?
No, she was getting her information from a racist source because they're more concerned about how black she is and if whether or not she's black, while everybody else is concerned about
the time
her
that
job.
we take to talk about that, we can talk about some of the great things that Kamala is doing and what she plans to do.
That would be Vice President Harris.
I'm sorry, you're correct. Sorry about that. No, I agree. That's disrespectful.
Well, I think that this is going to be something that a lot of people are going to bring up. I mean, just as Donald Trump tried to do with President Obama, and the whole birther thing, and his mother was white, and he comes from Africa, and all of the nonsense that has generated. But I think that it is it may be majoring in minor. Maybe it is the same thing.
Sybil, I just hope that I don't have a heart attack before November.
You're not gonna have a heart attack.
You and many other people.
You don't have it in you to have a heart attack over this ridiculousness.
Not with that gong in the background.
That will give you a heart attack. Yolanda, why don't you take us out with the jewel?
Oh, we did the piece. We did the entertainment.
We are moving on to the jewel.
Oh, okay. The jewel is, this is exciting this week. It's about being intentional. So let's be intentional about the words you speak to others, and even more, the words you allow others to speak over you. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, you can't say, with your big old head. No, I don't have a big head.
Yeah.
And how people say stuff. I'm just playing. I don't play like that. I'm just joking. It's not funny. You're not a comedian. That's not funny to me. And I am that serious about when people speak negativity, even in jokes over me, because I'm careful and I am intentional about what I say to you. And I only receive that which is good to be spoken over me. So we are being intentional with our words.
Very good. Thank you very much.
That's all you got.
I think it's best if I say as little as possible going out. Coy, thanks very much. We're sorry about your loss. And
yes.
Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Oh, okay. All right. Bye, everybody.